Welcome to Grit and Grace, the place where grit shapes you, grace carries you, and friends walk beside you through it all. I'm Pam Rader, and along with my co-hosts Erin Payne and Brian Thiessen, we're here to laugh, cry, and tell the truth about what it means to be fully human. Think of us as your old friends. We share real stories, a little cowboy logic, and transformational tools. Because here's the thing, life's gonna kick your ass sometimes, but it'll also invite you to rise. And when you've got grit and grace and a few good friends, you will get through it all. So pull up a chair, grab your coffee, and buckle up. Welcome back to Grit and Grace. It's Pam and
Erin. Hi.
We're in the same room today. So amazing. We're so excited to hang out with you today. In one of our past episodes, I mentioned the boss babe phase. And what I now realize was that it was less about empowerment and more about survival. And I thought I was stepping into power, but I was actually armoring up. And I want to talk about that today. We had one of our listeners actually ask us to unpack this. And I have some thoughts about what makes us go into the boss babe mode, the cost of doing so, and how to get the F out of it. What do you think, Erin?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a common story. So many women stepped into that boss babe identity. And I think it was a way to survive in a masculine world. Like, we were told that this is how we should lead. But we equated that success with control, independence, and achievement. And, I feel like somewhere along the line, softness just started to feel unsafe for us.
Yeah. I don't know if it's somewhere along the line. I think it maybe always felt unsafe for us.
Yeah.
I think we were conditioned for that. I mean, I remember, at the dinner table hearing, like, if you're crying, did you ever get I'll give you something to cry about?
I'll give you something to cry about. Yes, I did.
Yeah, we were being conditioned.
Yes,
that,
I
that,
did.
that softness is weak, and to be, if we want to lead, that we have to emulate the masculine energy. But in order to do that, we have to stuff down parts of ourselves. And that's what I want to sort of talk about today, is like what the cost of all of that is. When I think back to probably when I was a teenager and realizing that to get the attention that I think I wanted, probably from my dad, that I had to toughen up and not show that I was scared, or not show that I was sad, or any of that kind of stuff. And that was a culmination of a lot of comments over the years. And I'm not blaming my dad. He's just a normal dude, like everyone's dad. He's great. And, we heard all the messages all the time. Oh, don't be such a girl. Don't be such a girl. Wow.
Yes, my dad taught us how to throw baseballs, and he would say, don't throw like a girl.
Don't throw like a girl. Well, I am a girl, Dad. So I don't know how else to do it.
I know. And it was a specific way to like move your feet as you throw. And so, I mean, I think that's besides the point, but it was don't throw like a girl.
That's such a good metaphor. We were raised on the don't throw like a girl.
Yes.
And so then we start to stuff down our insecurities or our doubts or our fears, and we get praised for being tough. Look at her. She can manage anything. And we want more praise, so we do more of it.
On the flip side of that, if our emotions do come out or did come out, here we go again.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's a really funny story. I remember calling home one day. I think I must have been in my first marriage, and I called home, and my dad answered. He's like, "Oh, hey, Pam." And I said, "Dad," I started to cry. He goes, "Oh my God, let me get your mother."
You need a woman.
He couldn't even hear me cry. Like, he couldn't. To this day, if I cry, he walks out of the room. He can't handle that.
Yes.
I shouldn't say can't handle it. He doesn't like to see it.
Just doesn't like to see it.
Doesn't know how to deal with it.
Yes.
But it's really a form of self-protection. We don't want to be seen as weak. We want to be seen as capable. And that's just us wanting to belong, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say. And not knowing how to belong. Just kind of muddling our way through, hiding parts of ourselves and showing different parts of ourselves that might be accepted.
Right.
So the boss babe era, this became so acceptable around 2010, which is kind of like the rise of when we were coming up and owning businesses and all of that kind of stuff. And it was really, praised to be a boss babe, put on the power suit, whether metaphorically or in reality. Hustle, grind, have your morning routines, 5 a.m., no excuses, all of that shit. I did all of it. I I got up at, 5:30 every day. I read 10 pages of a book. I meditated. I did all my practices. I worked out. I did all those things. And then I would hustle and do all the social media and all the things I was supposed to do. And it all felt very anxiety provoking to me. There was a part of me that felt really like I was doing something right, but I needed people to know that I was doing it for it to feel right. So I was just proving, I guess.
And seeking validation.
Seeking validation. Yeah. Look at me. I'm doing all the right things and I'm hustling. So this is what a boss babe
And it's
does.
what society wants me to do.
Yeah.
So this is good, quote unquote good.
Yeah. But I look back and it was just pressure dressed up as purpose.
Yes.
I still have practices, gratitude practice. I do a little meditation, but I kind of gave up a lot of the other stuff because I was doing it not for myself. I was doing it because bro dudes told me I should.
Yeah. Bro dudes.
Bro dudes. The bro dudes, they're the reason for the rise of the boss babe. We felt like we had to compete in their world. But I don't think that masculine and feminine energy are supposed to compete. I think they're supposed to complement. And I think that we're seeing a rise in that kind of mentality now where men maybe don't love the result of the boss babe because they get a burned out, stressed out, ball busting bitch at home and in the boardroom.
And that's how we move into that masculine energy. And that's the result.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I had young kids. And so I was trying to be a boss babe with my business. And so I had all the things at home that I had to do. And then I just ended up having to do, so I had my business and then I was, trying to be a boss babe, but I still had all the other things to do.
Yeah.
So I was burning out at an epic rate, slowly but surely. But I mean, it was happening and I didn't know what to do with myself, let alone my partner knowing what to do with me.
Yeah.
I think it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I think so it started with, we were told don't throw like a girl. And then we want to belong. And then we also get into these scenarios where we're hearing things on social media and that just puts us in another kind of cage, I suppose. But then there's another factor. And I think that we are saying that, men have perpetuated some of this. I want to take them off the hook a little bit too. Society has emasculated men to the point they're afraid to say a fucking word. They're afraid to get in trouble. They're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. And in doing so, a lot of men have sunk into their more feminine energy, which innately makes us feel unsafe.
Yes.
And then we have to go into the masculine doing to feel safe. And these poor guys don't know what to do about that because if they stand up and they're, if men sort of lean into and it's not that they're choosing it, it's that they're afraid to assert their masculinity because they've maybe not been taught how to be a healthy masculine, a positive masculine force in the world. And it's not just men and women, just masculine energy, that container, that safety, the riverbank to the river. But they're so afraid to get it wrong. And so they sit back and then they get these crazy women. We'll just say it. I mean, it makes you crazy.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. It makes you crazy. It's just so not aligned with who we are at our core.
Right.
At least I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that strongly now. Strongly.
I'm really leaning into this, like retiring the boss babe, because I did not know how much I was in that persona. And it is a persona and it actually is not representative of who I am at all.
It was such a mask. It was so put on, and it was a brave face. Somebody's got to steer the ship. I guess it's going to be me, all of that. And it served me for a time. But the cost of it was so great because as I was in my last marriage, my husband leaned into his more feminine energy. He would cook and he would caretake and all of that, but he wasn't a particularly honest person. So it made me feel very unsafe. And so I went to hustle as a source of trying to feel control in my life. And the less I trusted him, the more I felt I needed to control outside of my marriage. And again, that led me to some success in business, but I was stressed out, burnt out, kind of on this never ending chasing something that I don't even know what it was. And then when the marriage ended, I was devastated and all of that, but I also felt relief that I didn't have to be that anymore.
That's, fascinating.
I did not realize that him being so much in that feminine energy and then just untrustworthy, what it did to me. So this is what I want to ask you. Do you think that we need to, stop focusing on how women can be equal to men and the boss babe competing in the boardroom and all of that stuff, and instead really just start to celebrate what's great about masculine energy and what's great about feminine energy, and maybe teach people how to complement each other?
Yes, I do. I think that a lot now.
So how do we do
And
that?
I think understanding kind of what it is first is kind of like the first step, right? Or to see ourselves as, for me, it was a little bit different than you.
Mhm.
But what I realized was I did take over the decision making and a lot of the masculine energy stuff in my home, leading and all of that. But I was also losing who I was at an alarming rate. And I had to lean into my feminine energy to get myself back essentially from that. And so I think it's understanding where we're at in it is huge. Just awareness, which is like the pillar of almost everything, all the work that we do, right? So awareness of it first and understanding what it is and what it means. You said the riverbanks,
Yeah, the masculine energy, healthy masculine energy is like the riverbanks, and feminine energy is like the river. And sometimes it's raging and flowing, and sometimes it's trickling and meandering, but it's a little bit more unpredictable, that sort of thing. But if there's no riverbanks, then we get a flood.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah,
It's just everywhere.
it's everywhere, and no one feels safe or contained.
And then we have to try to be the riverbanks. And it's, I know it's not men, not women, but
if we have to be the riverbanks, it blocks the flow.
yes, it blocks the flow. And we can't really just let our flow be what it is without that containment.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of men think they have to fix ourselves. And I'm bringing it back to men and women. It's easier to understand that way. We're not just referring to men and women. Everyone has masculine energy. Everyone has feminine energy. We can cultivate both within ourselves at any time. But just as an illustration, I think that if men don't know how to hold the riverbanks, then women feel unsafe and they go into their masculine and then they emasculate and they continue to perpetuate the imbalance. So I think we're doing a great disservice to our boys. I mean, I have boys and you have boys.
I have boys, yep.
And one of the things that I've tried to teach my boys is you don't need to solve a problem for your women. Listen, just hold space for them. Just learn how to stand still in the discomfort of them being unhappy with you.
Stand in there.
Don't fight. Don't try to fix. Just stand in it with them. And I think my boys do a great job.
They do.
They're amazing that way. And I maybe didn't really know what I was doing when I was teaching them that, but I think I was teaching them what I needed.
And well, that's what we do. That's how we have to do it.
Yeah. So I want to talk about something else really interesting, that you and I have been in the presence of a couple of very masculine men recently.
Yes.
Yes.
Just holding steady in there.
Holding steady, being the riverbanks in many ways. And how's that changed how you get to show up in your life?
I have found a lot of freedom in some pretty, I was going to say substantial boundaries, but some boundaries that mean a lot to me that I've never really had before. And so boundaries that have been put into the relationship. And I'm like, oh, I actually like this. And so while I do have a storm, and I am in the work of allowing my storm to be exactly who she is in all moments as I can, as honestly as I can.
Mhm.
I find that with those boundaries, my storm is just like kind of subsiding a little bit. And I don't have as much anxiousness and I don't have as much avoidantness. It's really quite wonderful, actually. So I get to show up as completely me. And I don't mind the storm. I have nothing against the storm. In fact, I love my storm, but I just don't have, it's not as much of a storm. Yeah. It's just not as much of a storm. And that's nice.
Yeah. And here's what I want to avoid. I don't want any listeners to go home to their husband and be like, you need to be more masculine.
No,
Like, no,
dude,
no,
that's
not.
masculine in itself.
That is masculine in itself. But learn our responsibility as feminine if we want to be in our feminine energy is to have awareness of what we need
Yes.
and take responsibility for asking for it.
Yes.
Because, if you point a finger in somebody's face, immediately they get defensive. But if you hold your finger up and say, like, come here, you get a lot more.
Good.
You get a lot more with that
I like
than you
that.
do with the point of the finger. And so I often think to be in my feminine energy is how do I invite them into my space? How do I invite them into wanting to give me what I need, because it's helpful to all of us. It's helpful to them, helpful to me, and therefore helpful to everyone around. And so when we're talking about, energy imbalances, I think it's really easy to point the finger and look at the other person.
Yes.
And it's always the wrong place to look.
And it's what we want to do because we want to validate how we feel. And when I think of pointing the finger, I just think of resentment. Something that I learned recently is that resentment is actually an abandoning of ourselves. It's an abandoning of our own boundaries. Like, we're not holding our boundaries in place.
Yeah. Well, so how resentment occurs, we have an expectation or an unexpressed expectation. Unexpressed expectations are the seeds of future resentments.
Yes.
But we have this unexpressed expectations, which I call the invisible instruction manual for how other people should behave.
Yes, you do call it that.
And then when someone doesn't meet, weirdly, that invisible instruction manual for how people should behave based on our limited view of the world, then we feel unhappy, disappointed. And we start to look at them differently. And we think, well, if they only loved me or they were, a better person, they would know to do this for me. And so we start to build up resentment, but then something worse happens. Our reticular activating system is programmed to look for things that we focus on. So now I'm focusing on why I should resent that person. And my reticular activating system goes, want to see 18,000 more reasons why you should resent them?
You're going to find it.
And then we start to create that. We start to bring that energy into the relationship. And then we naturally, when we see things that we should resent people for, we reject that. So it might be physically, it might be emotionally, it might just be that we stonewall or we ghost them. But we reject, and then we get resigned. We go, oh, it's just the way it is. That person's a jerk. But if you go all the way back to the beginning, the very beginning, where you did not express your fucking expectations,
what you want,
all of this could have been avoided. And so again, it comes back to awareness of what it is. So if I'm upset, what's really going on here?
What's really happening?
What is the need that I need to have met? That is for me to have met, not for this other person to psychically guess. And I also think that any complaints that we have are just requests we haven't made.
Complaints are portals to what we want, to what we desire.
But they're kind of, they're like cheap shots, really. It's like, I'm not going to take responsibility for asking for what I want and need. I'll just complain that the other person didn't give it to me. So it's very low level communication. So I think that the idea of being able to occupy, generate, create more or live in our feminine energy more, it requires that we actually take the responsibility
it doesn't just happen. We have to take the responsibility for asking for what we need and then appreciating it when we get it.
Appreciation and respect.
Mhm.
That's what men need from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a generalization, but
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with so many men in my coaching practice, and all of them say they feel unappreciated.
yes.
You know, they can't get anything
Just
right.
a world full of men who feel unappreciated and women who feel unseen.
Yeah.
And so we need to see ourselves in what you were just saying, right?
Mhm.
So for me, not knowing what I want, how can I ask for a question or ask for something that I want when I don't even know what it is? So understanding what it is that I want is quite a feminine, energetic healing, like healing the inner feminine. And then that aligns me with my desires, and then I can have it create the ask.
So let's give a real life example. So I'm just thinking about a common scenario that probably happens in lots of households. So, you know, your husband, your partner, whatever, dishes in the sink or socks on the floor, and you maybe even repeatedly say, could you please pick those up? I'm tired of picking up your socks or whatever. And they don't for whatever reason. And so we start to complain to our girlfriends, like, he leaves, he's such a mess, and he blah, blah, blah. You know, the complaint comes out. But if you really paused and asked yourself, what is actually going on here? We attribute a way deeper meaning to something like socks on the floor, dishes in the sink. It's like, I'm not appreciated or I'm being disrespected. And then we have to go, well, what does respect look like to me? Because it looks different for you than it does to me.
Yes,
I was raised in a different house. You were raised in a different house. Our ideas around respect are different. So I have to take responsibility for going, what has to happen for me to feel respected? And then what happens that makes me feel disrespected? And then I think we have to pull it apart and be like, okay, I'm actually kind of mental. Like some of it.
And that doesn't make sense,
That
actually.
actually doesn't make sense. So we can let go of some of those things, but then
Yeah.
it becomes our responsibility to communicate. And when you leave the socks on the floor, the story I make up in my head about it is that you don't care about the work that I do in the house all day. And then the result is that I build up resentment and I pull away from you. And that's not what I want in our relationship. And I'm just really wondering if you could help me with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a asking
Yeah.
instead of a telling.
Yeah. I'm inviting you
Yeah.
into experiencing more of the nice me.
Yes.
And doesn't that sound delightful for everyone?
Yes. And I just really feel unseen when you do that. And so, sometimes it's even like, I have to ask myself that, like, what do I need to have happen in order for me to feel, like you said,
Yeah.
respected?
Yeah. And so it's
Or
going to
take it as-
require, for us to tip the scales maybe back into balance with regards to masculine, feminine energy, we're going to have to really confront if you've taken on the boss babe role at all. And maybe it's not in the workplace, maybe it's
It's
at
in the
home,
house.
that you just, you don't trust your partner to do anything and you're controlling everything and making every decision and all of that. And maybe
And the money and the bills and the babysitting and all of that. And it's like, no, he can't do that. It's just me doing it. And I will just decide.
Yeah.
Yeah. The leading.
And so we have to relinquish some of that and then appreciate when they take that
When
on.
they take it on.
Yeah. Now,
sometimes let them fail.
Yes.
Sometimes
And
let
just
them fail.
encourage them. Yeah. I know. We're getting old fashioned here.
I know.
But I think it does have to go that way a little bit.
It's the pendulum swinging back a
The
little.
pendulum swung too far.
Yeah.
And the cost of that to everyone's health is incredible, not just women in their boss babe mode, but so the American Psychological Association found that over 75% of women report physical or emotional symptoms of stress every day. 75% of women. Holy crap.
I mean, I was in that for sure. Every day, all day, just in fight or flight.
So we get like fatigue, burnout, anxiety, disrupted hormones, decreased creativity, and creativity is feminine energy.
Yes. Decreased sex drive.
Yeah.
All of that.
We get less oxytocin and serotonin, and all of that kind of leads to more need to control. So we're more stressed out, we feel depleted, and then we need more. It's just like we become addicts.
Yes.
To control. Just control addicts. And so, maybe you're checking emails at midnight, or you're over functioning at work, or you're leading from fear, or as we were saying, you're just doing everything in your house because you're afraid someone else can't do it as well as you. But that's not leadership. It's just survival.
Yeah. Yeah, that dropping the ball. So that started happening to me. Like I would just like start dropping the ball on some of these things because I couldn't hold it all.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
isn't that, it's true. Like at some point it gets too heavy. And when we've got the resentment happening in place, then it's like we won't even relinquish it because we don't want the other person to succeed or something. Like when we get resentment, it's poison.
It's just so toxic.
Resentment is permanent and poisonous. And it's like, what does it say in the Tao? It says, it's like drinking poison, waiting for your enemy to die. Something like that.
Holding the fireballs to shoot at your enemy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
throw
burning
at
your
your
hands with
enemy.
the coals. I think that for me, having this recognition of like the boss babe, I will thank her for coming to play and
Yeah.
building my businesses and
Yeah.
doing things that she needed to do. And I will lay flowers at her feet and then move on from it because I feel so much more relaxed. And yes, having a very masculine presence in my life has helped me to get there. But now I feel like I am more myself than I've ever been, and that won't go away.
Softness and power.
Yeah, I shared a message with you the other day after doing a talk. I got a message from the organizer who said that I was warm and soft-spoken and spicy.
Yes.
And I thought that was the greatest compliment that I've ever had because that truly is all of the parts of me.
Yes.
And I'd been putting on this basically just spicy persona for a very long time when my nature is actually quite soft. So it was a beautiful noticing of alignment.
Yes. Well, that's amazing feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, like, what do you think that the benefit would be to start even having conversations about this in your household? If you're burnt out, you're a woman who's completely burnt out, or you're a man who's completely feeling like you can't do anything right, rather than just pointing the fingers, how do they start this conversation?
I think it starts with really just understanding. I always go back to like understanding yourself in it
Mm-hmm.
and understanding what you need, which we already talked about. And I think, so for me, the embodiment of a feminine ask as well, like you said, is inviting us in. Yeah, is that all this?
Well, I think we have to stop trying to make it like me against you, and instead it's us against the problem.
Yes.
And the problem is there's an imbalance.
Yeah.
So how do we look at this imbalance without pointing fingers at each other? We look at it as a separate entity. Okay, this has happened. This has been created. So how do we tackle the problem? And that's where the masculine and feminine, the king and the queen energy come in and work together. It's not a problem that one side can solve.
No, I agree actually with that because I had heard that too, though, right? Like a woman can fix her relationship. I'd heard that a lot. And maybe that's true for some, for sure.
Mhm.
And I think that we can move into our feminine energy purposefully, and that can inspire
Mhm.
the masculine energy to rise.
Mm.
And then it's bringing awareness to it and having conversations around it specifically. And maybe like, the other day when you made that decision, it made me feel really amazing that I could let go of trying to hold all the balls in the air.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we give the appreciation, we're expressing the exact action that we want to see more of.
Yes.
And not doing it in a way of you never do this for you.
Yes.
So one thing that I want to point out here is anytime you're going to have a conversation about this, if this is inspiring something for you, never use the words always or never in your
Yes.
conversation. It's character assassination. Instead, speak to very specific incidents. When this happened, this is what I made up about it, or this is how I feel. And do it with appreciation when the things are done well.
Well, yes.
People can't read your mind.
Mhm.
I love it when you open the door for me.
Yes.
I feels amazing when you make the reservations for dinner. It's one less decision I have to make. Those kinds of things.
And like I heard the other day, putting duct tape on when they're driving. Like, just don't try to tell him how to drive.
Right?
That's a simple
Oh my God.
simplified example.
I don't know how many times I took up a case when my ex-husband would drive, and I'd be like, he should have just pushed me out of the car.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I'm not proud of it. But like some of the, the toxic traits. So in case maybe you're like, I'm not toxic. Okay, but listen up. Okay.
Right.
Listen up, boss babes
Here we
out
are.
there. Hustling to prove how worthy you are. And that might not look like hustling in the border. It might be like they come home from work and you're like, I did this and this and this and this and this today, and way more than you did.
Why should I have to?
Dominates to feel safe. Now that I was guilty of that because I could
Dominates
talk
to feel safe.
circles around my ex-husband. And so sometimes when I felt unsafe, I would dominate in that
Yes.
way.
Yeah, I would match mine.
Yeah.
So he would have like an anger outburst at me, and I started to just fucking come like at him. I would take his outburst and I would try to come over top of him with another one. It was really toxic.
Oh yeah. Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Talk about trying to dominate him, and it never worked.
Yeah. If you overwork and under rest. And I mean, this is something that's praised. Oh, such a hard worker, and look at all the things she gets accomplished, and she never rests. And
Rest was a game changer for me.
honest to God, in the past 6-7 months, I've rested more than I rested in my life, and it's so beautiful.
It's like an exhale. Oh, it's just so amazing.
One other thing, so distrusting others when you're in a boss babe mode, distrusting others. And also, like, I used to secretly throw shade at people a little bit. I wouldn't do it so much out in public, but I'd be comparing and noticing what people did wrong. It just always felt very competitive, which is quite a masculine energy.
Yeah. Controlling.
Pushing for results. So always needing to get to a result. Men like to be empty. They watch sports because they can cheer. It's like,
In the sports box.
in the sports box. Yeah. And they want silence at times.
Yes.
They like the emptiness.
They have a nothing box.
Yeah. And women like to fill.
Yes.
And so when you're in the boss babe mode, now you want to fill it with, I need results right now. You're dominating, controlling, and it sounds delightful.
It's just so fun.
Just a joy to be around. Detached from emotion.
That's, yeah.
I would say I've always had empathy, but I was not nearly as in touch with my empathy. In fact, I had a hard time accessing empathy for what I perceived to be other people's sort of insignificant problems. So for instance, someone would complain about their mother-in-law made a slight to them or something. And I'm thinking, yeah, my husband choked me out. Like, you don't even know what a problem is. There's my kids on the street living in a parking garage. Like, the fuck do you have problems? And I just could not empathize. And I realized somewhere along the way that I was projecting on them that they needed to toughen up and desensitize. But for me, the real work was I needed to resensitize. I had to desensitize to survive. That's part of the boss babe thing. I toughen up to survive. And then I needed to allow myself to resensitize to access empathy for everyone, because my heart is different than someone else's heart.
And empathy for others. Like, I'm just getting really right now, like, empathy for ourselves too, but in the form of like compassion for ourselves, compassion for our emotions. Like, we always talk about no wonder, right? And so that immediately de-shames whatever it is we're experiencing, whatever it is we're going through. It immediately de-shames it and connects me back into my emotions. It's like self-love in action. And so I feel like attaching to our emotions or understanding them and connecting to them, which is very much, a feminine healing, healing the feminine wound, is absolutely the way forward for many of us. And then we can feel compassion for others too.
And, the sort of the big telltale that we're in our masculine energy, and this is a sneaky one, that we're in this sort of toxic, maybe boss babe kind of energy. Seeking validation. It's sneaky because it feels kind of feminine. It feels kind of like, I just want to be loved. I want to be told I'm good or whatever. But it's proving. It's just proving all the time. And that's masculine.
We don't have to do that.
There's nothing to prove.
We are a gift.
Yeah. And a much more delightful gift if we get into our feminine energy.
Exactly. A delightful gift.
Look how delightful we are.
That's all it needs to be.
And then burnout as a badge, right? Like, just getting
busy.
Oh, glamorizing busy.
Yes. I can't. I was busy. I can't do that. I was busy.
Hmm.
Busy. Oh, I'm just busy.
Yeah. So let's talk about what healthy feminine energy, kind of the antithesis of the boss babe, if you will, like what I would call true powerful feminine energy. It's like creating from alignment.
Creativity.
Yeah.
Being in touch with that energy
Yeah.
in
Creating from
ourselves. It's like
alignment.
our birthright.
Yeah.
Creativity.
Well, that's why we're doing this.
Yes.
Creating from alignment.
Absolutely.
And we lead through connection instead of separation. We're not trying to dominate anyone.
We're proving
We
ourselves.
connect to people. We honor, the cycles of effort and rest. It's like, okay, and here's the thing. You don't owe anybody an excuse for why you say no to things.
No. No is a full sentence. I've heard
No
that
is a
lots.
full sentence.
Yeah.
And if you're a little bit like, of a people pleaser still, just say that doesn't work for me.
Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely use that.
That helps. We can delegate with discernment, not bossing people around, but ask for help.
Ask for help.
Ask for help. And I think especially in the realm, like you're raising children, little kids, and it's so freaking hard. And we're taught that we should be able to do it all ourselves, but we're the only culture in the world that does that.
Yes, we are.
We need
It's
our
really-
sisters, we need our friends, we need all of our people around us to be effective at
takes a
being a
village.
parent. And we attract through resonance when we're in our feminine energy. I think when we're relaxed and we operate at a certain frequency, right?
And then yes, then that frequency calls in other, and it's like, that sacred work. Like when we're aligned and we're moving through the world in a native aligned energy, people feel like they can access that too.
Mm-hmm. We give people permission. It's like, oh,
Yes.
someone's doing it.
Yeah, look, that's I
Yay.
want more of that.
Yeah.
And other women, we're attracting other women to this because they're tired.
Yeah.
They want to let the reins down,
Yes.
Yeah. And they can.
Yeah. It's a fallacy. There's a kind of a funny belief too that we have to wait for the masculine, like the male in our lives, to take on the masculine energy. When we act in our best interest and do what we need to do in what we're talking about here, creating from alignment and checking in with what we need and all that, we are also creating a safe masculine container within ourselves.
Absolutely.
And so we become a balanced individual regardless of what's happening around us.
Yes, because that's inside of us as well. And honoring that masculine energy is for sure. And then we get into this place where it's like, I got me, and I would like to have someone in my life who gives me that masculine energy as well. And I don't need, but I want that. I desire that.
Totally. And again, we've talked about this on other episodes, but we can follow our desires. That is so feminine.
Yes.
Like desire.
And we should be.
Totally. My gosh, I've been just following my desires all over the place lately, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So some questions maybe for people to ask themselves. Like, what part of you maybe still believes that softness equals weakness? I think this is
Maybe unpack that a little. Where does that come from?
Yeah. Where does it come from? We gave some examples of like our dads at the dinner table. I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah.
Yep. And what's your definition of success? Somebody said to me the other day that they were successful, and I said, what does success mean to you? And they gave me a dollar amount, and I said, well, what else is there around success? And they didn't even know what I was talking about. And I said, to me, success is having time and freedom to spend with people I care about. Success is having harmony in my relationships. Success is getting enough sleep and eating healthy and
resting.
Feeling really healthy in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Success is feeling vibrant. Really, for me, success is more around relationships and health. And if you have a certain amount of money, sure, that becomes easier. But that's not even close to the first marker of success to me. And where in your life can you practice surrender without losing power? Talk about that. How do you practice surrender without losing power?
I think it's just holding on to what you need and what we need, what it is we're asking for, and just keeping that front and center, and then surrendering the stuff that we can't control.
Yeah.
Surrendering what we can't control. Understanding that there's a higher power. And of course, I don't want to have anybody think that I'm saying a higher power is better or not or anything like that. But understanding that something's working through us and that everything is as it should be.
Yeah.
Is a really powerful surrender place to be, especially for us women.
I talk about
Timing
this.
is perfect.
You said you don't want people to get. I don't care.
I know.
Yeah. I have
whatever
a
you
kind
call
of
that.
faith in
Faith.
It could be the universe or God or creator or
All of
whatever you
that.
want to call all of it.
Yeah.
It's energy, and that energy it's all perfect. And the more that I really get that, the easier it is to let go. And I think that's really, it's a powerful move to let go and trust.
It really is.
So balancing masculine and feminine energy is a dance. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a destination. It's a dance for sure. And some days we'll need the grit and other days we'll need the grace.
Yeah. That's a really good metaphor for the masculine, feminine energy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it's not about rejecting the boss babe. Sometimes she can come out to play.
Absolutely. Yes.
There are moments when she might be needed, but I think I'm for now, mine's retired. I just think I can thank her for helping me survive and that she can rest. And I'm just really more interested in living in a space where I can exhale. Yeah. And trusting, again, having faith that everything I need will come to me. What do you think? What do you want to leave the listeners with, Erin, on this one?
I think some final reflections that I would love to leave the listeners with is like, what part of you has been leading from fear? What part of you might be ready to soften? That's a good one. Where can you soften a little bit?
I want to say something about that. People will habitually say, I would, but, or I can't because.
Yeah.
And everything after but and because is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's really just an unwillingness to relinquish. So exhaust yourself of all your buts and becauses, and then ask yourself what part of you is ready to
Where can I
soften.
soften? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would your life look like if you no longer needed to prove your worth? Like if you could just let all that go, what would it look like? Would that be so scary?
Right? Yeah. And if you walk through the world like you're completely worthy, imagine what you'd attract.
Yeah. Magnetic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be like a magnet for all the cool stuff. Oh my gosh. So yeah, the boss babe was conditioned in us from a young age that we should be tough. As it does, the pendulum swings, and it went too far in my estimation. And we've got a whole generation of completely burned out, overstressed women and somewhat emasculated men who don't have a clue what to do about it. And the solution is like the answer's within us, as always. And it's really about returning to our nature. We're probably going to get some flack on this episode, I think.
So. Yeah. I think we are.
That's okay.
I feel like if you're resistant to some of the things we're saying, that might be a little spot for you to go, lean in. I'm curious about that. Why am I resisting that?
Yeah.
It could be. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, because what we resist persists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something there for us.
100%.
When that happens.
Okay, I actually like it when we get flack. It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, if we're not pissing people off, we're not doing anything.
I'm getting there. My old people pleaser is like, oh God, but really.
So if you like the podcast, please share the show.
Please.
We love when you share it. We'd love to see your comments. Please give us a rating. It really helps the show. And please check out our upcoming retreat in the spring of 2026. It's going to be so incredible. We already have a wait list of over 20 people. So you want to get on the wait list to get the announcement
right
and
away.
early bird pricing. We'll put the link in the show notes. So until next time, we wish you to be able to take all of life's grit and to turn it into grace.